Hi, I'm Erik Voss, and this is a breakdown of The Walking Dead Season 9, Episode 9, the mid-season premiere. Yeah, if you used to watch our in-depth analyses of episodes of The Walking Dead, I'm sure it was a bummer when, starting Season 9, we couldn't keep covering the show each week, for a lot of reasons that I went into in past videos. Especially when this Season 9 has been pretty good and I've been wanting to talk to you guys about it. But the good folks from Philo reached out to us saying, look, we're gonna help you out. We've got a great way for fans to stream The Walking Dead, and we're going to sponsor a relaunch of your weekly breakdowns. So thanks to Philo, we're back, baby! Later, I'll get into some exciting details about Philo, why you gotta jump on this, and what you can expect from this video series, so stick around to the end of the video for all that. Let's dive into this Walking Dead mid-season premiere, some things that you might have missed, some deeper meaning from the episode, and where the second half of Season 9 might be headed. Spoiler warning if you haven't seen the episode yet, or if you're worried I might predict anything too accurately and it'll ruin your life. So this episode opens with some striking horror imagery. The dead body of Jesus, shockingly killed by a whisperer in disguise as a walker in the last episode. There's a flash of lightning with all this going down in a spooky, foggy cemetery. They're one Vincent Price monologue away from thriller. This classic horror imagery restores the show back to its horror roots to accentuate the new reason to fear walkers. Some of them might actually be people in disguise. And opening on Dead Jesus seems to be some form of meta commentary by the show. Like, sure, actor Tom Payne did admit that he was getting bored in the role and was ready to go. And by the way, props to this guy for hanging out as a limp ragdoll for all these shots. But it's like this whole episode loved the weird way Jesus is dead sounded.
Jesus is dead. What?
Intentional or not, this whole death of spirituality fits in nicely with the way The Walking Dead is pivoting to focus on the science of the walkers. Last episode was titled Evolution, a nod to Eugene's theory that the walkers' brains could be evolving to relearn how to speak. But of course he was wrong, and this episode is a clarification on the season-long biology lesson. The latest unveiling in the mystery of the walkers, and that's why this episode's titled Adaptation. See, evolution and adaptation are both biological terms that are often confused with each other. Unlike evolution, which takes millions of years across several generations of a species to take effect, adaptation refers to a single group of organisms developing new behavioral structures to help them survive. So we're not talking opposable thumbs and new talking zombies. We're talking survivalist humans adapting to a zombie world via camouflage. A tactic foreshadowed all the way back in Season 1 when Rick used that meat poncho so the walkers wouldn't smell him and then he could walk amongst them. But it's not just the Whisperers who are adapting this episode. After the cold open, this episode catches up with Negan. After Gabriel forgot to lock the gate, Negan was left with a doorway to freedom. But kind of like in issue 141 in the comics, Negan doesn't use this opportunity to flee Alexandria forever. He actually ends up back in the cell. This episode is more like a prison furlough for Negan, but this freedom is a nightmare for the guy. He gets hungry and thirsty and sick. Walkers freak him out. His old palace is now in ruins. Even his weapon is now hollow, unlike the fearsome bat that he used to wield. Negan is essentially the institutional man that we saw in the Shawshank Redemption, Walking Dead original showrunner Frank Darabont's film that shares many thematic parallels with this series. Like the characters Brooks and Red, Negan hates it on the outside. Actually, if you look closely, you'll notice that he returns to the same clearing where he killed Glenn and Abraham, the very first night that he met Rick and his crew. But now Negan is the one brought to his knees, spewing his guts. And while trying to return to his leather daddy status, Negan finds this creepy scene with a family of mannequins arranged in a domestic tableau, with the father figure as a human who blew his brains out. It's like this guy was Will Smith's character in I Am Legend, a lonely man in the post-apocalypse trying to recreate a community with mannequins. Negan clearly relates with this loneliness, a former husband and father himself who lost everything, and he'll never be able to get it back. The suicide echoes Brooks' suicide from the Shawshank Redemption, a grim cautionary tale for the new institutional man who's now on the outside. Negan realizes that the only thing close to family he had was the Grimes family, now embodied by Judith Grimes. She bears the tokens of her relatives, Carl's sheriff hat and Rick's Colt python, making Judith a sort of Grimes ghost. The compass that she lets Negan keep symbolizes her role as Negan's moral conscience, and how Rick and Carl's belief in redemption and change is the only way forward for Negan. We also get a hint of how other characters have adapted. Michonne and Daryl mourn over never being able to bury Rick, and Michonne thanks Daryl for trying to find him and thanking him for after. Daryl responds by putting his hand on her shoulder. So I'm pretty sure this is a nod to that mysterious X scar that both Michonne and Daryl have on their lower backs. Michael Cudlitz, who actually directed episode 7 of this season, tease that they got those scars through some really effed up backstory that led them to adapt to their even more closed off mindsets that they currently have. There's a lot of different theories about this. My thinking right now is that maybe Daryl and Michonne know that Rick survived the events of episode 5, and they know that he flew off to another community with Anne. Remember, this is a community that's in the business of trading people, and they objectify people into A and B categories. Maybe there was some rescue attempt by Daryl and Michonne that went horribly wrong, and it left them with these X scars. But back to the literal adapters of this episode, the Whisperers. We meet Lydia, the girl whisperer, and daughter of Alpha, the female leader who kidnaps Alden and Luke at the end of the episode. Loosely adapted from the events of issues 134 and 135 in the comics, Lydia gets interrogated at the hilltop and spills that the Whisperers don't use names, and that they share a mutually protective relationship with the Walkers. Meanwhile, Henry, serving the world's longest prison sentence for underage drinking, forms a budding romantic relationship with Lydia. Now it looks like the show is adapting the arc with Carl in the comics. He hooks up with Lydia, she licks his eye hole, it's a bit freaky. But later we find out that this might have been some deliberate matchmaking by Daryl. As the two teenagers talk, Daryl sits outside and eavesdrops, learning way more this way than he ever could have by barking at Lydia, dragging her around. Remember, it was Daryl who made Henry stay in that cell longer. Perhaps he was hoping that the horny softie would get her to squeal. Phrasing. This is some real Game of Thrones level tactics by Daryl, who knows that, whether it's Eugene overhearing Rosita's pregnancy by Sadiq, or Negan overhearing gossip about Gabriel, the walls in these communities are not soundproof. Also, clever thinking in general from Daryl this episode. Aiming for the leg to test which walkers were Whisperers. A headshot, of course, would just kill him. This guy wants to know. But coming back to this whole idea of adaptation, biologically speaking, it doesn't apply to individuals who change their behavior. It has to be a more widely adopted behavior. A whole group creating a new behavioral structure in order to survive. And I think that part of the definition is key here, because we don't know how many Whisperers there are. Lydia said 10, clearly a lie. There's gotta be more. We've seen entire herds of them shifting unnaturally. They might as well all be Whisperers in our eyes right now. In fact, the Whisperers could be so good at blending in, there might already be Whisperers embedded in these communities. And for me, that's what makes the second half of season 9 so exciting as we head toward the finale, which I'm guessing will be the fair event that the season keeps bringing up. Comic readers know why this fair is such a big deal. I won't spoil it here. I just love the way that they're setting up the Whisperers as a mystery in a way that will expose how vulnerable these characters really are. Which supporting characters do you think could be a surprise Whisperer? One of these newcomers? Tammy Rose? Is that why she was so anxious to execute Lydia? Maybe to keep her silent? Comment down below with your thoughts. Now, thanks to Philo, I'm gonna be able to break down the next few episodes of The Walking Dead, and these videos will come out on the Tuesday or Wednesday after the episode airs, but you can help us continue to do this by checking out Philo, who of course sponsored this video. Philo is a streaming service with over 50 channels, including AMC, and it's really the easiest way to watch The Walking Dead. I've been using it to catch up on all the past Walking Dead episodes and shows like Better Call Saul, and there's unlimited recordings so that you can save as many shows as you want. Philo's available on Apple TV, Roku, Android, iOS, and Fire TV. It's simple and affordable, only $20 a month for all this content. You can essentially save $100 a month on your stupid cable bill, and all you cord cutters know that AMC shows ain't exactly to find without a cable package, so Philo is your best solution to stay cord-free and commitment-free. Just visit www.philo.tv/newrockstars. That's philo.tv/newrockstars. Get on this now and help make this breakdown series a regular ongoing thing. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at EAVoss, and subscribe to this channel and subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you for watching, and I know, it's sad Jesus is dead, but hey, maybe he'll resurrect under a dumpster somewhere. It's happened before. Come on, let's go check under all the dumpsters.